Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are well and passing your time in happiness. In this time, it's my request for you to stay at home and stay safe. Today, we'll practice some degrees. In the last class, we learned some rules from degree. Today, we'll apply them in the exercises that we are going to do. So if you look at the screen, we can see, if you look at number 1, the question is, at present, Corona is the most contagious disease. If we look at the sentence, we can understand that it has come from the first rule that we learned in the previous class. So, if we want to make this positive, we need to start with no other. So, the solution is, at present, no other disease is so contagious as Corona. I'm repeating, at present, no other disease is so contagious as Corona. I think you have understood the point. If we look at number 2, we can see that the question is, no other student in our school is as brave as he. If you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus than any other. So the solution is, he is braver than any other student in our school. I am repeating, he is braver than any other student in our school. If we look at the solution, we can understand that it has also come from the rule number 1, that means formula 1. This is question number 3. The question is, Akbar was greater than most other kings in India. If you want to make the superlative, we have to use one of the. Actually, it has come from the second rule. So the solution is, Akbar was one of the greatest kings in India. I'm repeating, Akbar was one of the greatest kings in India. I think you have got the point. This is number 4. The question is, he is as tall as a palm tree. The solution will be, we need to bring the subject in the beginning and the object at the last. We will have to make this negative as the sentence is affirmative. Actually, it has come from the third rule of degree. So the solution is, a palm tree is not taller than he. I am repeating, a palm tree is not taller than he. There are some students who write as him. Actually, we need to write the subjective form, so it will be as he. Okay, this is question number 5. We can see that very few metals are as hard as diamond. We have to make the superlative. So if we look at the question, we can understand that it has come from the second rules. That means if there is very few and if we want to make this superlative, we have to use one of the. So the solution is, diamond is one of the hardest metals. I'm repeating, diamond is one of the hardest metals. This is question number 6. The question is, a bird cannot fly as fast as a plane. If we closely look at the sentence, we can understand that it has come from the third rules of degree. So the sentence is given in negative form. If you want to make this comparative, we shall have to make this in affirmative form. We need to bring the subject in the beginning and object at the last. So the solution is, a plane can fly faster than a bird. I'm repeating, A plane can fly faster than a bird. Okay, this is question number 7. So if you look at the question, we can see that honesty is more valuable than any other virtue. It has come from the first rule. So if you want to make this positive, we shall have to start with no other. So the solution is no other virtue is so valuable as honesty. I'm repeating, no other virtue is so valuable as honesty. I hope you have got the point. Now we can move to the next one. The question is, the girl was not so attractive as I thought. This sentence has been given in the positive form. We need to make this comparative. So if you want to make this comparative, we can write like this. The girl was less attractive than I thought. I'm repeating, the girl was less attractive than I thought. Okay, now this is question number 9. The question is, she is one of the most active girls in this garment. We need to make this positive. So we know that when there is one of the in superlative form, and if you want to make this positive, we need to start with very few. We shall have to remember that if we use very few, we shall have to use are in the present tense and were in the past tense. We can see the sentence is given in the present tense. So we shall have to use are in the sentence to make this positive. So the solution is very few girls in this garment are so active as she. I'm repeating, very few girls in this garment are so active as she. I think you did not forget that we cannot use as her. We need to bring the subject directly. This is question number 10. The question is, very few boys in our school are as intelligent as Sadman. We have to make this superlative. So we can see there's very few. So if you want to make this superlative, we need to use one of the. So the solution will be, Sadman is one of the most intelligent boys in our school. I'm repeating, Sadman is one of the most intelligent boys in our school. I think you are right in thinking so, that you are right. This is question number 11. The question is, the rose is the finest of all flowers. We have to make this comparative. The comparative form is, the rose is finer than all other flowers. I'm repeating, the rose is finer than all other flowers. We need to remember that when there is of all in superlative form, and if we want to make this comparative, we shall have to use than all other. Okay, this is question number 12. So we can see that Shakespeare is the greatest of all dramatists. We shall have to make this positive. So we can see that it has come from the first rule. So we shall have to start with no other. So the solution will be, no other dramatist is so great as Shakespeare. I'm repeating, no other dramatist is so great as Shakespeare. Okay, this is question number 13. So if you look at the question, we can see that the cow is the most useful of all animals. we shall have to make this comparative. So we can see there is awful, so we have to use then all other. So the solution is the cow is more useful than all other animals. I'm repeating, the cow is more useful than all other animals. I think you have understood the point. This is number 14. The question is, these three men were the wisest of all men who gave present. If you want to make this positive, we can write like this. No other man who gave present was as wise as these three men. Or no other man who gave present was so wise as these three men. This is question number 15. The question is, English is the richest of all languages in the world. We shall have to make this positive. If you look at the sentence, that we can see that it has come from the first rule, so we shall have to use no other to make this positive, because we can see here that there is the plus superlative. So in this case, we need to use no other to make this positive. Okay, the solution is no other language in the world is so rich as English. I'm repeating, no other language in the world is so rich as English. This is question number 16. Milk is the most nutritious of all kinds of food. If you want to make this comparative, we shall have to use comparative from plus then all other. So the solution is milk is more nutritious than all other kinds of food. I'm repeating, milk is more nutritious than all other kinds of foods. This is question number 17. Pizza Hut is one of the most expensive restaurants. We shall have to make this positive. In this sentence, we can see there is one of the, so if you want to make this positive, we shall have to use very few. So the solution is very few restaurants are so expensive as Pizza Hut. I'm repeating, very few restaurants are so expensive as Pizza Hut. This is question number 18. The question is, Dhaka is the most populous city in Bangladesh. I think you yourself can do this because this is very easy. We need to make this comparative. So we can see that it has come from the first rule. So if you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then any other. So the solution is Dhaka is more populous than any other city in Bangladesh. We need to remember that the positive form of most populous is only populous, and the comparative form is more populous, and the superlative form is most populous. But there are some students who think that the positive form of the most populous is popular. So if you write like this, then it will be wrong. Okay, this is question number 19. Iron is more useful than most other metals. We shall have to make this positive. So if we want to make this positive, we shall have to write like this. Very few metals are so useful as iron. I'm repeating, very few metals are so useful as iron. Okay, this is question number 20. The question is, no sooner had the thief seen the police, then he ran away. We shall have to make this positive. So the solution is, as soon as the thief saw the police, comma, he ran away. I'm repeating, as soon as the thief saw the police, comma, he ran away. This is question number 21. We can see that she is less beautiful than you said. We shall have to make this positive. So the solution is, she is not so beautiful as you said. I'm repeating, she is not so beautiful as you said. This is question number 22. The question is, her face was not less radiant than the full moon. We shall have to make this positive. So the positive form is, her face was as radiant as the full moon. I am repeating, her face was as radiant as the full moon. If we look at the question number 23, we can see that, I guess her hands are bigger than yours. We shall have to make this positive. So the solution is, actually it has come from the third rule of degree. So we shall have to bring the subject in the beginning and object at the last. If the sentence is affirmative, we shall have to make this negative. And if the sentence is negative, we shall have to make this affirmative. So the solution of 23 is, I guess your hands are not so big as hers. I'm repeating, I guess your hands are not so big as hers. I think you have got the point. This is number 24. The question is, Asia is larger than any other continent in the world. We shall have to make this positive. So it has come from the first rule of degrees. So we need to make, or we need to use no other at the beginning of the sentence. The solution is, no other continent in the world is so large as Asia. I'm repeating, no other continent in the world is so large as Asia. I think you have got the point. Okay, this is number 25. The question is, King Solomon was the wisest king in the world. So it is almost the same as the previous one. So if you want to make this positive, we need to start with no other. So the solution is, no other king in the world was so wise as King Solomon. I'm repeating, no other king in the world was so wise as King Solomon. I think you have got the point. This is number 26. The question is, Jim and Della were not less wise than the Magi. We shall have to make this positive. So if you want to make this positive, we can write that Jim and Della were as wise as the Magi. I'm repeating, Jim and Della were as wise as the Magi. This is question number 27. The question is, the lady guest was the cleverest woman the writer has ever seen. We shall have to make this comparative. If you look at the question, we can see that it has come from the first rule of degree. So we need to use the comparative form, then we need to use then any other in the middle. The solution is, a lady guest was cleverer than any other woman the writer has ever seen. I'm repeating, the lady guest was cleverer than any other woman the writer has ever seen. This is question number 29. The question is, very few animals in the world are as ferocious as a lion. We shall have to make this comparative. So we can see that it has come from the second rule of degrees. So if you want to make this comparative, we shall write like this. A lion is more ferocious than most other animals in the world. I'm repeating, a lion is more ferocious than most other animals in the world. I think you have understood this. This is question number 30. The question is, Cleopatra was the most beautiful of all women. We shall have to make this comparative. So we can write the solution like this. Cleopatra was more beautiful than all other women. I'm repeating. Cleopatra was more beautiful than all other women. So I think the exercises that we have done today, you have better understood this. So no more today. Have a nice time. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.